they're wearing a nice chic coat and like some Gucci, you know, they're looking good.
My orangutans outsmart me every day. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh.
Stop washing. Save the orang.
Hello and welcome to What's Up with Zoo, a podcast all about animals, wildlife, conservation and the science behind them. I am one of your co-hosts, Harry. My other co-host is Alice, and we have a very special guest today. We are joined by one of the primate team here at the lovely Wingham Wildlife Park, Holly. Do you mind just introducing yourself a little bit, saying who you are and what you do at the park?
So I'm Holly. I'm Deputy Head of Primates, so I'm responsible for all of our apes and monkeys on section. I've been here for 3 years now. But I've been a keeper for 5.5.
Oh, wow. So quite a while then. You're pretty familiar with everything on site then at this point. Yeah. And we've got to ask this a little bit early because I know some people do have a favourite. Do you have a favourite primate on section?
You shouldn't, but I do.
It's hard not to, isn't it?
It is
Very
so hard. I would say the Goldie monkeys and the mandrills are my favourites.
Ooh.
But I think it's mostly because I train those guys personally. So you build up that connection with them.
The mandrills are very impressive. I love their blue faces.
They are very impressive. They're the smelliest, though.
I've heard that. I've heard
their
they're the
poo
worst.
everywhere
Yeah.
they can grim. But we love them.
Love them anyway, smelly or not.
Yeah,
I like it.
Now, today we've got a fun thing to do because we are actually not going to be talking about one species. We're going to be talking about multiple. We're going to be talking about apes. Now, there are quite a few apes. I want to see how many can you remember off the top of your head.
So, we've got humans, which are great apes. We've got bonobos, chimpanzees, orangutans and gorillas. And then you've got lesser apes, which are gibbons and siamangs.
Nailed it on the top.
Professional.
Yeah. No, so this is why she's deputy head. Along with Jess B, they do a fantastic job looking after all the primates here, the monkeys and the apes as well. I just want to mention there's 8 great apes, if I remember correctly, and there's also 18 to 20 lesser apes. When I was doing my research, I discovered one of them has a very cool name, which is the Skywalker gibbon.
Wow.
I've been very excited to talk about this.
Yeah.
Wow, not even I've heard that one.
Bunch of Star Wars fans came across and like, oh, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity. We're going to call it. It does have another name, which is the Gong Hulok gibbon, which is, I believe, is Chinese. Somebody can correct me on that. But I think the Skywalker gibbon is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a bit better name.
But speaking of apes, this is where people often get confused. You often hear it around the park sometimes where people say, oh, look at all these monkeys. And sadly, they're a little bit wrong, but you can never don't want to
Yeah,
be
you don't want to interrupt them on their little trail of thought.
Do you mind explaining the difference between what an ape is and what a monkey is and how you can sort of tell the difference?
So there are actually a few different ways to tell the difference between an ape and a monkey. So the first one resolves on their tails. Mm-hmm. So great apes, they don't have tails, only monkeys have their tails. A lot of people assume that our macaque monkeys are apes, but actually they have something called a vestigial tail, which is very, very small, and it's hidden under all their fur. So even those are classed as monkeys, even though people sometimes get them a little bit confused. You have the way that they move. So monkeys primarily will walk all the way on their fours, whereas apes have the capabilities to walk just on their back legs. Size is a big factor, which is kind of a unique one for those guys because really mandrills, which are the biggest species of monkey, even they can weigh the same size as some of our chimps. But generally great apes are much bigger unless they're classed as the lesser ape, like the gibbons and the siamangs. And also their cognitive abilities. Now, I think this one's quite a controversial one.
Let's go.
Because I think my monkeys are just as clever as the apes. You just have to adapt it a little bit for them. You know, sometimes they're not going to pick it up as fast as the apes. But, you know, we work on something like open mouth with some of our other smaller primates.
To check the teeth and things. Yeah,
so their dental hygiene. And we do that with the apes as well. They just need a little bit more of a coaxing and a bit more of a helping hand, really.
It's always been seen as a bit of a controversial figure trying to compare animal intelligences, especially when you try to compare them against humans who are often very biased towards themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we always say like, oh, we're one of the most smartest animals in the world.
No, my orangutans outsmart me every day. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're getting all the tea today.
Yeah.
From my quick bit of research on the differences between monkeys and apes, I found that the similar evolutionary genetic differences, you can compare a rhino and a horse, and a wolf and a bear, they are about the same difference as a ape to a monkey is, which I found was quite interesting because, of course, a horse and a rhino, they have 4 legs, obviously, but they're quite different looking. But they still have very similar traits between monkeys and apes. So it can be seen why lots of people would confuse the two.
Yeah.
What would be, so looking for the tails, that's the best way to tell.
Yeah.
Is there any other differences that you'll say that really stand out? Or is it just remembering? Can you remember a few of the great apes and go, right, that's an ape, and I can just remember everything else is a monkey?
You could kind of argue like the size is a big factor for them. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, just assume like mandrills. You don't look at them and go, wow, they're the same size of an orangutan, for example. Yeah. But like, you're only really considering like a dominant male mandrill to be a similar size to a chimp, for example.
Right. I gotta say, I just keep coming back to the mandrills. They are very cool. But
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Mandrills.
No, I mean, it's fair. I mean, primates in general are quite cool, and it's why we have such a good collection here of many different species, from the really small, the pygmy marmosets, absolutely adorable little things, all the way up to the very, very large Bornean orangutans. But speaking of comparing them, when it comes to their intelligence, a lot of people start to do lots of tests on the great apes. Do you think there's a bias towards the apes for their intelligence when comparing it to humans, for example?
100%. Yeah. I think because we are so genetically, compatible, for like the chimps, it's something like 98.6%. We share the same genetic makeup. So I think it's easy for people to just go, well, we must be the same, basically.
People do compare studies and say, the more social people, that's like chimpanzees, and then some people who are a bit more aloof like to go for the orangutans.
I feel like orangutans are like the grumpy ones.
Yeah.
Chimpanzees are pure chaos, and gorillas just seem like chill vibes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you could just
I'd be a mixed
have a cup of tea.
then.
Yeah, vibe with a gorilla, just in the mountains. You know what I mean?
Speaking of their intelligence, do you have any good examples, either working with them or any stories you might know of apes being intelligent? Because that's always the one that people come back to.
I know Molly's very intelligent.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Especially the naughty behaviour.
One of our boarding orangutans. She is...
iconic.
Iconic is one word. Mischievous is what I would like to call
I don't know if I'd use the same word to describe Molly, but yeah, she is a very intelligent orangutan. She's one of the ones that you can introduce a new behaviour to and she'll get it pretty quickly. With chimps, they are observed in the wild to do tool use, just like humans. So we do try to encourage those natural behaviours when we're enriching the chimps. And even with training sessions, they're all based on natural behaviours that we can observe in the wild. But tool use is probably one of the biggest ones with them. So we do something called fishing. So we'll put a tastier treat on our side of the mesh. Chimps have to figure out a way to get to it. For us, it's usually Tara because she is the most intelligent chimp, bless her. She'll run straight into the garden. She'll pick a nice stick. But I think Tara, where she's a dominant female, she's so good at sharing her intelligence with the rest of the group, especially her offspring. Like, she'll teach them how it all works. Elizabeth, she's getting too big now. She can't just get her little arms through the mesh. Whereas Maggie, she treats all the time.
One love, Maggie. Right, that's a great segue onto talking about expecting, aren't we? We're expecting a lovely ginger bundle of joy. Our orangutan Awan is pregnant, which is very, very soon. I assume when this podcast goes out.
Yeah, at the time of this recording,
we'll probably have a baby.
Yes.
Yeah. But obviously you've got experience with baby apes. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about Elizabeth and Margaret?
So, a little bit about their bundle of chaos. But we love them. So we were really lucky with Tara. She is such a fantastic mum. Tara wasn't producing enough milk to sustain Elizabeth. So she would bring Elizabeth over to us. She'd be able to let us bottle feed her. And it is something that we have had to do with little Margaret. But yeah, I hope Margaret is better behaved than Elizabeth when she grows up. However, she is starting to show some naughty traits. It's all a bunch of fun, isn't it, really?
It's fascinating how much they trust you as well to do that with their baby. Do you feel like that's do they almost feel like they're part of the troop, or do they see you maybe in a different light? How do you perceive their
is an aspect of trust, working with any animal really, but especially your great apes. I think, you have to build up slowly, but surely. So, spending a little bit more time with them. We do regular training sessions with the chimps anyway, especially when you're kind of new to it all. So you are building that relationship with them and building that trust. If they didn't trust you, they wouldn't want you to help them, basically.
Yeah.
So, it is all based on trust, and it is all based on building a relationship with the animals. It's the same with any species, really.
And people, I imagine.
Yeah.
Well. I wouldn't know anything about that, though. But what I find interesting now, of course, because at this time of this recording, we're still waiting for that lovely orangutan to be born to us, and hopefully we can now look after them. How would your looking after the new baby compare to how you've looked after the chimpanzees?
That's different, mostly because the orangutans, they're not necessarily a nervous species in comparison to the chimps, but they are a little bit more wary, and it does take a lot longer to build the trust of the orangs. Awan, she's so good at coming over to us in the morning. We've been working on ultrasound training during her pregnancy journey, which I think has helped her confidence massively with us keepers. There are still a few things that we need to work on with her, but I would like to think that if the time comes to it and she is looking for a bit more of reassurance and she needs a little bit more help, she'll bring the baby over. She'll let us do what we need to do with her. Our vet, she's been fantastic working with Awan, and we're building up that trust as well with Jin. Jin's a confident lad. He'll literally come over and say hello to anybody, bless him. So it's just showing Awan kind of, she can trust us. There's that reassurance that we will be there to help if anything, if she needs it.
And this brings up a slight difference between their behaviours as well, because chimpanzees, they live in a social group, so they'll work together and sometimes help each other out with a baby. I don't imagine Jin's going to help much with Awan, is she?
I would love to say, Jin's going to step up, he's going to be an amazing father. But it's just not like that for orangutans. They're one of the longest species to keep their offspring close. It's about 8 years, I think, whereas chimps, they're weaned after about 4.5 years, 5 years. But it's such a crucial time for them in those years. They need to learn all these social skills, what basically they need to do to survive. So as much as I would love to say Jin will step up, he'll be there.
He ate all her treats yesterday.
Yeah, literally. I can just imagine him, she's getting extra food. That means I must be getting extra food.
Clocked himself right in the middle.
It was her birthday just before this recording. And Jin was not so fair.
No.
Let's just say.
No, it's not a word I would use to describe Ginger, bless him.
So when it comes, we've talked a little bit about the lovely greater apes. Now we do have a few species of lesser apes. We have the lovely pickle, who is a lot of people's favourite. Favourite gibbon. Do you think gibbons? I think gibbons are a little bit underrepresented, especially when it comes to apes. I think a lot of people just, even if you know a little bit about apes, you see pickle and you think monkey, don't you?
A lot of people don't even know what a lesser ape is. They've never even heard of it.
No.
Everything's a monkey, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. Even great apes. They're all right.
Well, hopefully we can dispel a little bit about that. Do you think how do lesser apes compare to greater apes in that sense? Are they on a similar band of intelligence, or are they a little bit down? Because I definitely see some bias.
Maybe other species of gibbon, maybe not our three. No, I'm kidding. Ours are just as clever. So the gibbons, we have to be really careful. Obviously, they're still just as dangerous as your great apes, even though they're significantly smaller.
They are Cat 1, aren't they?
Yeah. So you do kind of have to be really careful. But we are still capable of scale training them. We're working on open mouth with them. We can look into doing blood withdrawal sleeves and stuff like that with them. But generally, you're looking at size in comparison to a great and a lesser ape. But also kind of their regional, where they're from. Gibbons and siamangs, they're primarily from different parts of Asia, whereas great apes, you can find them in Asia or Africa. So it kind of depends on where they are on their continent, basically.
I always find it a little bit odd how somebody long ago said that's the lesser version and that's the greater version.
Yeah.
And it's a bit unfair.
It is so
I didn't get to choose that. Like, I'm pretty cool by myself. I don't want to be that.
No, that's a cruel way of looking at it.
We've just got lemurs to do what they want.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just their own band, aren't they?
Do their own thing.
Okay,
Let's talk about lemurs.
Yeah.
So obviously all lemurs are endemic to Madagascar, so that means they can only be found there. So they've gone through their own evolutionary journey, really, haven't they? Do you want to talk about a little bit about lemurs?
So lemurs, there's over 100 different species, all found in different parts of Madagascar. We are lucky to have 3 different species here. All my babies, love them all. We've got our ringtails, we've got our black and white rough lemurs, which shouldn't have favourites. They are up there. And then the black lemurs are even higher up the list. So they do have a few evolutionary traits. In Madagascar, about 90% of the fauna and flora is completely unique to that part of the world. So obviously they're more adapted to different kind of fruits and things like that. Their diet is strictly based on fruits and nectars and flowers. In captivity, we don't offer fruit because it's far higher in sugar content. So we substitute it all with vegetables.
Nice.
But obviously lemurs, they're a social species, just like most primate species. And so they will live in troops. Troop size generally vary on the species as well. So our black lemurs, for example, it's generally 2 to 15 individuals, whereas ringtails, it can be 6 to up to 35 individuals.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on the species and how they've kind of adapted to their environment. You know, black lemurs, they're found more in subtropical rainforest areas, whereas like your ringtail lemurs, they're more adapting mountain ranges even now.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how animals adapt to their kind of surroundings and how they need to.
It's interesting that you bring up lemurs, of course. Whilst they're not part of the ape family, they're probably another species which people often get confused. They see ringtails and think that's the only type of lemur.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
As you said,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was like revolutionary when we had the black lemurs in the walkthrough.
Even though the lovely ruffed lemurs are just
Yeah,
behind the penguins.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody appreciates them, and I don't know why, because they're so cute and fluffy.
I really like them.
It's like they're wearing a
really
nice
like them.
chic coat and like some Gucci, you know, they're looking good.
Don't know where we're going with this now.
But all of this complex behaviour, as you've been alluding to, it does mean it becomes quite challenging looking after quite intelligent animals.
Yeah.
What would do you say to look after such intelligent animals as opposed to maybe I don't want to be unkind, but maybe the less
dumb one.
intelligent animal. A dumb one, yes.
There's no such thing as dumb animals.
I'm going to get cancelled for that.
So we're really lucky at Wingham that we have a wonderful head of training.
Georgia,
She's fantastic at her job. I'd be lost without her, honestly. She just get annoyed at me all the time for asking questions. But there are ways that we can adapt different behaviours to make them a little bit more simpler, if that's a nice enough
Basic.
word.
Yeah. There we go, basic. Yeah.
So, for example...
You're going to name and shame?
No, I'm not going to tell you a success story, Alice. I'm not going to name and shame my own animals. That's harsh. So if we're comparing apes and monkeys, for example, you've got the orangutans, which are nebulizer trained, so it works a little bit like an inhaler, basically.
Yeah.
And it's really helpful for the orangs. They are quite prone to infection, especially males with their throat sacs.
Exactly.
So we nebulise them once a day. But obviously, it is basically an inhaler. You can't really put that up to a tiny Goldie baby's face, really.
Blow it away.
Yeah, literally just cover their entire face. So one of the ways that we can kind of change that up is introducing something called an induction box. It's a little bit like a lunchbox is how we've designed it.
Yeah.
It's got a small hole on one end and then a little square end where the monkey basically comes through, and they will take treats from the hole, and then we can put the little attachment onto the box, and it basically helps them to inhale what they need to, basically, to treat whatever infection they need to treat. Then you've got something like open mouth to check their dental hygiene. One of the ways we can combat that between apes. So for the chimps, we use squeezy bottles. All we did was squeeze the bottle, it had some juice or shake in it. They open their mouth, you'd click it, and you'd reward them for it. Our gibbons, however, are terrified of squeegee balls. So we had to come up with a new way of adapting it. So instead we used a little stick. We hold it to their mouths. They'll naturally open their mouth, being curious little creatures. So there's a few different ways you can combat these things. It's all about your imagination and how you can combat them. You know, like I said, Georgia's so helpful with us. You know, we can go to her with a problem and she'll be like, let me have a think and I'll get back to you. And it's also like the teamwork of like bouncing off each other with different
All the ideas flowing around.
I'm really lucky. My team is so training driven. So we're always keen to kind of adapt to training. You can never consider an animal to be fully trained. I don't care what anybody says.
No.
There's always new things that we can introduce with them.
That's definitely true of my dogs. But that's quite remarkable how it's not a case of like brute forcing it, like why won't they get it? It's like, okay, take a step back. We're going to reapply this in a different way so that they can approach it more calmly sometimes. Because I feel like even though they're probably used to you and some of the things, they're not going to be used to the equipment and training that they have to do. They'll get a bit skitterish. I remember doing a little bit of the filming with the orangutans for one of our Explore Your Zoo episodes. And the first sort of time that they saw me, they was like, oh, okay, no, he's here. He shouldn't be here. Yeah. He's got a blue T-shirt on. I don't like that. But of course, this bringing up their intelligence as well, enrichment is also a very big part of keeping them kind of thinking active. Now, it's all about trying to stimulate natural behaviours, but do you have a favourite enrichment? Because either does it cause the right kind of behaviours or more you just have fun performing the enrichment?
I love seeing Elizabeth with an ice lolly. It's my favourite thing.
They love summer because they get loads of ice treats, to be fair.
And she hoards them all and just gone.
Yeah.
I love it.
That is Elizabeth's problem, to be fair. She's a hoarder.
But she knows who she is, don't she?
Yeah, she is such a princess.
Yeah, dominant.
She
like when
knows she can
plays
get away
carrots.
with it all. No one's going to tell her off.
No.
Not even Mum tells her off often enough.
Not even
sometimes.
Dad. No.
Dad's literally, he's like, nah, see you
Not my
later.
problem.
Yeah.
I love seeing, I think it's the orangutan, some of their enrichment is that they get cups full of either seeds or other bit of pellet, and you just see Jin going, chug, chug.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shots.
Yeah.
Enrichment is a tricky one, really, because you're always trying to change how you do it. They're too intelligent. Once you've done it once, they'll get bored.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing now.
Yeah.
So especially for the apes, you're kind of always trying to adapt it. Sometimes even introducing a new substrate to them, they're like, what is that? I'm not touching that in the slightest. It's so funny, some of them. Things like water play.
Okay. Do chimps like water plays? They don't notoriously like water, do they?
Not really, but like we have this turtle that we can fill up with water. And they will like splash around in it sometimes. They are super cute with it.
Like a turtle paddling pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so cute. We love summer. Just get to do all the cold things. And like, it's just a nice break going into the freezer, to be fair.
Oh gosh, yes. Yes. Walking into the office is quite good actually. Or the education centre.
Yeah, yes.
That's the place to be.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just
That's
let
where you'll
yourself
find
in.
me.
Yeah, it's fine.
As long as there's not been too many talks, you'll be okay. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think a lot of people assume, oh, you're working outside. It must be lovely. And you're like, no, my enclosures are still really warm.
Yeah.
You can't escape this heat. But in the winter, you're like, get me in the house.
It's always a sad topic to bring it up, but we have to talk about conservation when it comes to great apes and lesser apes, because a lot of them are suffering from many of the same sort of threats.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through some of the threats they might be facing in the world?
So sadly, for a lot of primate species, they're either endangered or critically endangered, especially great apes. So the biggest threat, probably the most common that you hear people drag on about, is habitat destruction and fragmentation. So a lot of people don't know it, but we are destroying their habitats out there for a number of different reasons. You know, agriculture is such an integral part of it, and especially the logging industry. But also to make way for the human population increase that is ever growing.
Classic.
Yeah,
Humans.
pretty much.
Great apes destroying great apes. It's
Yeah, I think we've already lost like
Ironically.
95% of Madagascar,
Yeah.
and that's the only place you can find the lemurs.
Yeah.
We've got the whole planet, but yes, we've got to destroy this one island that these one
a lot of
lemurs
cattle and
live.
vanilla from Madagascar. That's one of the big reasons.
Yeah.
It is such a shame. Yes, as you were saying, like logging and things for agriculture, like palm oil was a huge problem, especially for the orangutans, because they keep chopping down for other things as well, getting rare earth materials and things like that. But just growing things for palm oil, which we just consume on a daily, chocolate, cake, any sort of biscuit really. It's shampoo, yes. Yeah. That's always a big one. Like, oh,
stop washing. Save the orangs.
It is a shame. And one of the big things I always like to bring up, habitat destruction is a really big part of it, of course. The less space you have, there's going to be less of them available to find food and then potentially move on to find new areas. But fragmentation is the one that I always try and bring up because a lot of people don't understand how fragmentation works. Do you want to explain a little bit more about fragmentation?
So fragmentation basically is essentially where you pick an area and they will destroy that area. And it means that there aren't basically ways for the animal to get to a new place. So they're literally confined.
Yes.
Sadly. So something that is quite common in Madagascar is slash and burn.
Yes.
So they'll just pick an area, set it on fire, and then you've just lost a whole area of habitat for these animals. And they need the food to survive. They need shelter to survive. Especially great apes. They need nest building opportunities. Especially when they're carrying young as well. So it is really sad to basically see it all get destroyed.
And it doesn't even need to be a big area that needs to be destroyed either. It can be a road's worth.
Yeah.
And that's enough to separate two habitats and make it almost impossible for many species, especially when it comes to orangutans, which, they live in the trees almost their entire life. So a road in the way is basically, that's the line in the sand. You can't go across it. Is there anything else that are threatening great apes and lesser apes? I keep almost forgetting the lesser apes.
Bring it up.
I'm meant to be promoting these lovely guys, and I keep saying the apes in general.
So obviously we are quite genetically close with many different species of the great apes and lesser apes. So a big integral part is disease. We're destroying their habitat. They're coming in closer proximity to us, and they do not have the same immune system that we do. A common cold can be fatal for some of our great apes. So, a lot of people don't really consider it as part of their health. We do regular health checks with our chimps. If they're showing any signs of illness, any of our animals, it's a worrying time for us. And it can be detrimental. Well, it is proving detrimental to them.
Yes. I remember reading a case of Ebola. Remember when Ebola was a massive thing? It spread to chimps, and some populations lost 90% of their numbers. It's horrific. It's just one little slip up, getting that one wrong disease to the wrong population, and it just, that's horrific. And of course, though, this is where conservation comes in. This is where we hopefully come in. So conservation, of course, is going to be a lot about trying to restore these lovely forests. Is there any other unique bits of conservation that are worth bringing up, maybe in the field or maybe also here in zoos, for example?
So there are many different charities out there that support kind of rebuilding these habitats, putting those habitat bridges in for a lot of different native species in different countries. So they play such an important role. Sustainability is such a massive thing now, and people still don't really consider it, sadly. But in captivity, we obviously have our breeding programs. We're very lucky to be a part of many EEPs here at Wingham. Our chimps and our orangutans are a part of that as well. So even just the birth of little Margaret and Elizabeth, is actually fantastic for their species. It stops them from becoming extinct. There's many places that do reintroduction programs as well. So we are definitely doing our part. And we don't want these animals to disappear.
No.
Education.
Yes.
What a fantastic team. We'd be lost without you.
Bit of bias,
It's inspiring the next generation to actually care.
Yeah.
It's such an important part of it. A lot of people assume we play with animals all day.
I know.
But actually, we're out there with the people, we're educating people just like you guys are as well.
Well, that's one of the arguments, isn't it? When you got zoo hate, these animals do belong in the wild, but they don't take into consideration all the threats that they do face in the wild.
Absolutely.
All the diseases that they have no immunity to.
Nobody wants zoos to exist,
Exactly.
but sadly we kind of have to
exactly
make sure these animals aren't lost.
Yeah.
Through the breeding programs, through the education, through the conservation, everything. We are so
research
important.
is also another really important part.
100%.
I'm quite lucky. I'm on a research project with our chimps, looking at their diet and things. If people don't do these research projects, whether it's observing them out in the wild or in a zoo setting, we're never going to improve. Zoos are always trying to improve their care. We only want the best for our animals as well. So it's just important for people to see that work and see it all become worthwhile.
How amazing you are. Yeah. Because we think you are.
Stop it. I couldn't do it without you, Lana.
As you were saying, like in an ideal world, zoos probably shouldn't exist. Yeah. But they are a safety net for so many animals. And as you were saying, these animals aren't safe going back to many of their own habitats, which is unfair on them to just release them into danger. Yeah. And for many, it'd be impossible to release them in the first place because they just wouldn't have the survival skills to survive in their new habitats, as it were. But speaking of that sustainability thing, that's a really big part of it. Because a big part of our job is talking about things like sustainable palm oil, for example, because that's obviously a big threat to the orangutans.
That's the debate, yes.
Yeah. And it's always trying to say, lots of people saying, palm oil, get that out of here, it's terrible, it's destroying the orangutans. Like, have you considered the alternatives and how good they might be? Many of them are very useful, I won't disagree, but then how much of it do you need to then replicate how much palm oil creates? Because it's such a more efficient crop. All we're doing is basically saying, read the labels, see what it's made from. Is it sustainable regardless of what crop it comes from?
I think a lot of it is awareness. I think people just,
they're not aware that it's even in there.
Yeah.
Like, palm oil is in 50%
it doesn't
of all
affect
products. Me. Yeah, it'd be fine.
And actually, it affects our daily lives.
100%.
But let's toot our own horn a little bit, because we were talking about the lovely chimpanzees and orangutans. Now, this is quite cool, actually, because I knew about this roughly when I first started, but doing a bit more reading about it. The chimpanzee house it was about 2016, wasn't it?
Way back when, yeah.
Yes, long time ago, many, many eons, when time was better. Jane Goodall, very, very famous, the icon of chimpanzees research and their conservation, actually came to see it and to give her thumbs up and say, this is actually a very nice habitat. Yeah. I can't think of a better person to come along and give approval for that sort of thing.
She's iconic,
I'm
isn't she?
upset that wasn't her.
Yeah.
Gutted. If I was 10 years old, I probably would be.
But I think let's turn our attention a little bit now to some fun, interesting stories about apes. So I think there's a very famous story that we want to talk about, which is Coco the gorilla. Have you heard of Coco before?
A little bit, yeah. So
she was a fantastic gorilla. She was part of a huge amount of language-based studies, and she was taught a little bit of American Sign Language. Now, I'm not going to go into the debate about it. Lots of people are saying, it's all fake, or it's a little bit of rubbish. Unfortunately, that's the way science goes. A lot of people get a little bit upset about those sorts of things. But she was taught a little bit, and she met Robin Williams, very famous actor, of course, done lots of good stuff. Good Will Hunting, one of my favourite films of all time. And they had a wonderful exchange with each other. Do you want to know what they did together?
Go on.
They had a tickle fight.
Oh! As you do with Robin Williams.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had they were kind of gesturing towards each other, and he gave her a little tickle, and she was like, oh, this is quite fun. I quite enjoyed that, and gave him a tickle. Oh. And she signed tickle. Actually, I wish I could do it for on the stream, but I can't. But they signed to each other like tickle. But the sad bit about it, of course, Robin Williams has now passed, and sadly Coco has as well. But when Robin Williams did pass, and they told Coco about it, she signed the word for cry and lip, and then mourned for a little bit after hearing that news. It's showing that, okay, we're talking a lot about this intelligence, but there's this emotional side to them as well.
Yeah, the empathy as well,
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely amazing. Do you have any fun and interesting any kind of
Tell us a naughty story.
Yes, please.
Give us all the stories. Yes. Name and shame.
Maybe an orangutan.
You guys must know about Georgia Chimp.
Georgia Chimp?
Yeah, when she got a visit from the vet.
Oh. Yes, I have heard about
Oh, let me know, because I'm not too
She
familiar.
made a lovely silhouette of our old vet, surrounded by poo.
Oh,
Georgia is a poo thrower. She's done it one time to me. I've still never forgiven her for it. But Georgia is one that will never let you stand in the way of her food. So,
Oh, girl after my own heart.
yeah,
I mean, I don't fling poo at anyone, but
yeah, I appreciate
it's
that.
an option.
So, in an evening, Georgia, she gets so, like, irate. If you're giving another chimp attention, you're not thinking about giving her food. She'll start filling up her mouth with water. She'll start spitting it at you. It's not the nicest. Sometimes she'll, like, aim for your mouth as well. You always have to be on your toes with the chimps. Always.
Oh, gosh.
The orangs, fun stories about the orangs. They're just so mischievous. Every day is just a,
It's never
what are they going to do today? Kind of vibe. We love them, but they probably give me the most stress out of all of them.
that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
their strength and their intelligence is a deadly combination in some
Yeah.
cases. I remember hearing a good folklore story about orangutans. And it's in Sumatra, they believe that orangutans have the capability to choose to be humans, but deliberately choose not to because they don't want to work like we do.
What mood?
Yeah,
Yeah, literally. So.
that is
I want to be an orangutan.
Yeah, let's do it.
that is a vibe. I mean, just swinging in the trees, eating good fruit. I mean, yeah, why
Just
wouldn't it?
vibing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Do you have any good fun stories about any of your apes, Alice?
I mean, I got slapped in the face by a marmoset once.
Did you?
Oh, mate.
One of the marmosets.
One of mine.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I won't have
I
it.
couldn't
I
tell
don't
you which
believe
one it was, but
Was it one of the common marmosets by
Yeah.
chance? Yeah.
yeah, I was just
Yeah.
can't remember what I was doing in there. I was
I
in there for a
remember.
purpose. Just hanging out with the marmosets. And yeah, it looked me dead in the eyes and just went like that. It's like, fair enough.
And not to forget the gibbons, of course, the lesser apes as well. I do have a quick story about them as well. The Dayak people from Borneo, they believe that they are voices of the forest and their ancestors. And
I like
hearing
that.
them,
Such a cute.
Oh, yeah, I like
yeah,
that
is
one.
good luck.
I like how they run.
Yeah. Fever. First thing in the morning. It's one of my favourite visions.
Hands up in the air. Often
Yeah.
when I'm walking past them, going to the education centre or something, or I'm walking past them with one of our lovely Trixie the dinosaur toys, they'll like come running and go like, it's him!
Honestly, I love it. It's actually quite iconic for the gibbon into their little run.
Oh,
Love
they're just
it.
all arms, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
90% arms.
A lot of people do confuse them for spider monkeys. I think that's one of the common things I
Yeah.
hear when walking past them, but they are.
Especially Pickle.
Yes.
With their coloration, everyone's like, oh yeah, it's just a spider monkey.
She's an icon.
You can definitely hear her walking around the park. She'll let you know she's there at some
Yeah.
point during your day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Holly.
It's been a pleasure.
Lots of
Always.
cool facts. You really know your stuff. We will, of course, have the other deputy head, Jess B, along as well. She'll do a lovely monkey episode at some point with us.
She's not getting away with it.
No, she is not. But until then, we will obviously do a full episode on all of these apes as well, so we can go fully in depth with them. Maybe we can invite someone back again if they're up for it. Fingers crossed. You never
Always.
know. Always.
We haven't put Holly off.
No.
Never, never.
But until next time, guys, you can always follow us on any of our social medias. Do just look up Wingham Wildlife Park. We, of course, have our Explore Your Zoo, which is a fantastic series on YouTube. You can check that out. It's got lots of cool things with behind the scenes, especially for the orangutans. But until next time, guys, I've been Harry,
I've been Alice.
and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.